When Alex asked me to make a movie about Huntington for the HMF comedy variety show, I thought about the famous love letters to cities in cinema. My mind, of course, went pretty quickly to Manhattan, which sucks because Woody Allen sucks. I know people argue you can separate the art from the artist, but I don't agree with that. One of my favorite things about art is how it can give you a look into the creator's mind or soul. Also, I'm embarrassed to admit that when I was less mature, I was a Woody defender, and I justified this by arguing that he seems to use so much of his life in its work. So how could he do the things he was accused of? One day a friend pointed out to me how many of Woody Allen's movies are about someone doing something awful, and then wondering if you can live with yourself after that, and ultimately realizing you can. And I was like, yeesh! Anyway, I thought about that. But I also thought about how great it would be to see a montage of black and white shots of my Huntington places set to Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue. And I ultimately decided, fuck you, Woody, you don't get to own that. So please know, this is not an homage, it is a ripoff, and probably the one rare time I don't feel guilty about doing that. Now that I've addressed the elephant in the room, let's talk about Huntington. Huntington is sexy. Huntington is classy. When Huntington found out that one of its beloved hot dog institutions was run by a homophobic monster, it wasn't the end of the world, because there were still plenty of other great places to get a good wiener. I moved to Huntington to go to Marshall. And no, I didn't just get in because my family's name is on one of the buildings. Speaking of buildings at Marshall with great names, Marshall's campus is great because all the buildings have such distinct styles. And then as a fan of crossovers and mashups, I love that the library puts them all together like some kind of architectural Voltron. I came to Huntington for school. I stayed for the grid system. Seriously, I know lots of cities have grids, but there are so few off-the-grid streets downtown that if you know how to graph, you can pretty much get anywhere without a GPS. I wish I'd paid more attention in history, because if I was more certain about the order of the presidents, I could get around the West End and be unstoppable! So yes, Huntington has a reputation as a drug town. We're a small town in West Virginia that once had 26 overdoses within a 4-hour period. That's gonna turn some heads. But we're also a recovery town. We have so many groups, organizations, and people working every day to turn people's lives around. We might be a drug town, but we're also a town of second chances, and third, and fourth. A lot of people say that Huntington is a town defined by tragedy, and again, they're not incorrect. But it's also a town defined by acknowledging tragedy, honoring it, and then getting back up, never backing down. Now, I know a lot of fucking trolls out there are saying, what about Woody? Doesn't he get a second chance? No! So don't go watching Manhattan to see how close I got to the montage in it. I know I went out of my way not to watch it for reference while making this. Instead, maybe check out these movies by filmmakers who were also influenced by Woody Allen, but as far as we know aren't awful people. Or watch these by artists from Huntington. I have two funny brothers. If we'd done a podcast, would we be the McElroys? I don't know, but I do know that wondering if I'll ever be as successful as the McElroys is a thought that connects me with a rich tapestry of Huntington creatives. And there's something really special about that.